Hello and welcome to the second lecture of section 5, and it's a lab. Launch RDS DB instance. So what are the things that you should know before the launch? Let us check it out. Normally it should take around 5 minutes to launch RDS DB instance. You can select any one of the 6 database engines. Once the launch is successful, the instance status is shown as available. To connect, you have to use endpoint of the RDS DB instance. That is, to connect to your DB instance, you will get one endpoint from the RDS console, and you have to use that endpoint to connect with your DB instance. Security group should allow connection at least from your IP. You will also require a MySQL client to connect. For this demo, we have used MySQL Workbench. You can use phpMyAdmin, SQL Pro, or any other client you are comfortable with. So here's the look and feel of the DB engines. So this is not the demo, it's just a screenshot. Here we have selected MySQL, you can see this, and the other 5 are also available for you: Amazon Aurora, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, and Oracle, as well as Microsoft SQL Server. Once the launch is successful, the instance status will be shown as available. So I'm showing you a preview with the help of screenshots. The actual demo will follow soon. To connect to the DB instance, you will get an endpoint which looks like this: your DB instance name along with your region and rds.amazonaws.com. Port is 3306. This is the default port for MySQL. Publicly accessible, yes, since your instance you want to connect it over internet, it should be publicly accessible. Then you can see here the security group and the rule which has been defined for your security group. And then the default security group doesn't allow connection from anywhere or connection from your desktop, so you need to allow connection from anywhere or at least from your IP. So this can be done from here: security group, edit inbound rules. And the look of MySQL Workbench, the client which we are using for this demo, will be something like this. Here in this screen you will be providing your host name, that is the endpoint, then port 3306, username and password that has been given by you while configuring your instance. Now that you have a brief idea of what you are going to do in the lab, let us get our hands dirty and launch the DB instance. Here I am. I have logged into my AWS console, and now I'm going to select the region which is nearest to me right now, and it's Mumbai. You may be remembering that this is important for low latency. Closest the region, lower will be the latency. So now Mumbai is selected, and now we will go to RDS. We can directly go from here, we can search from here, or we can go to services and we'll go to database, and under database we have RDS. Okay, so click RDS. Yes, so since this is the first time I am inside RDS, and that too inside Mumbai region, as this is a fresh account. So you will be greeted with this screen, Amazon Relational Database Service, that is RDS, and from here you can click this Get Started Now. So this screen looks a bit familiar to you. Maybe this is not exactly the same what we have seen because of region. I think in Mumbai region it's there are 6 options. In other regions maybe it may differ a little, but the basic is same. So here we are going to select MySQL, as we are going to launch a MySQL instance. So we have selected MySQL and we will click next, and here we can see use cases. Do you plan to use this database for production purposes? So as we are going to use this for demo, we will just click this dev test, that is development and test server MySQL, and then click next. Here we are at instance specification screen, DB Engine MySQL Community Edition. Okay, you can see this. So as this demo is with free tier, we are seeing this Community Edition, general public license, licensing model, DB Engine version, MySQL 5.6.39. Maybe by the time you are doing this it might differ. Don't worry about this. DB instance class. So here we will go with T2 micro, that is 1 virtual CPU and 1 gig of RAM. This will be good enough for our demonstration. Multi-AZ deployment, that is multi-availability zone deployment. So as this is for the demo and just test and development server, we will go with the default one, that is no. Multi-AZ is required for creation of a replica of your database in different zone. This provide data redundancy and eliminate IO freezes and minimizes latency spikes during system backups. So this is a good feature if you want to go ahead, and you should go ahead with this in case of production database. This is a must. Storage type, we will go ahead with general purpose SSD because provisioned IOPS will be a bit expensive. This PIOPS will be a bit expensive, so we'll go with the default option. Allocated storage 20 GB is well and good. Now here's the DB instance identifier, that is name of your instance. Let us call this DB instance. Master username user. Master password, you can go ahead with any password you like. But this should be a strong password. You should prefer a strong password. Okay, click next. But before clicking this next, you must preserve this information somewhere. Okay, this DB instance as well as master username. Either you can note it down somewhere with on a paper, or you can go ahead with a notepad, this system's notepad. Okay, click next. Now we are provided with a VPC. This is similar to what we have seen in EC2. So default VPC is there for us. You can go ahead and create a new VPC as well. But to make this simple, let us keep this default VPC. Subnet group, that is inside the VPC, we will go ahead with the default one. Public accessibility. This is important because there's a change over here. We are not going ahead with the default selection, because then if this is no, public accessibility is no, it means DB instance will not have a public IP address. If it doesn't have a public IP address, it won't be available outside VPC. So anything outside the VPC would not be able to connect. That is, you cannot connect that instance from your desktop. So we will go ahead with yes, that is, it should have a public IP and it should be accessible from the internet. So remember this, public accessibility is yes, you should select this yes. Availability zone. In Mumbai region there are two zones, 1A and 1B. You can choose any one of them, or you can leave it blank. You can leave it default, not blank. VPC security groups. You can create a new VPC security group, or you can choose existing VPC security groups. We will create a new one for this. Now the database name. MySQL RDS. Port number 3306. This is the default port. So we'll go ahead with this. Parameter group, keep this as default. Option group default. IMDB authentication, let us keep this as disabled. And again, before going forward, DB names, you should just take a note of this DB name. I'm noting it down on a paper. Encryption, leave it as default. The select or DB instance class does not support storage encryption, so the DB instance engine which we have selected along with that instance does not support encryption, so just ignore this and move ahead. Backup. So database, since they are one of the most critical component of your application, RDS provides default backup options. So backup retention period is 7 days. Okay, so you can leave this as it is, or you can just reduce this a bit, since as this is a demo, you can go ahead even with 3 days. Backup window. So at what time of the day you want to go ahead with your backup. So for example, if you are targeting users from North America, then you should go ahead with a timing when it's midnight over there in North America. Okay, so if it's a global one, then it doesn't matter. If your application is global, then you can select any time you want, but the traffic at that point of time should be as low as possible, so that your database performance doesn't get impacted due to backup creation, because backup creation means it will affect the performance of your database during that point of time. So it is always recommended that this window should be when your traffic is very low or extremely low. So here, as this is a backup, as this is a demo, we'll go ahead with no preference. I think you have understood this retention period, right? So 3 days means it will preserve the backup for 3 days. And so at any point of time when you log into RDS, you will find at least 3 backups, last 3 days backups. Monitoring. Let us go ahead with the default selection, that is disable enhanced monitoring. Basic monitoring is always available. Log exports, we'll go ahead with the default one. Maintenance, enable auto minor version upgrade. Okay, that's fine. Maintenance window, no preference. Now we will click Launch DB Instance. Here your DB instance is being created. Note, your instance may take a few minutes to launch. It can take a couple of minutes. Now let us see View DB Instance Details. Can you see the status? It's creating. DB instance status. This is creating. And this is our engine MySQL 5.6.39, and then this is the instance class T2 micro. And here are a few CloudWatch metrics that we are getting by default. CPU utilization, DB connections. So as this is a fresh account, we don't have any data over here, so we cannot see any lines or any graph, but it should be available after some time when the instance creation is completed. Okay, so I will stop the video for a while. I am back and I have started the video after a couple of minutes. As you can see, the DB instance right now is available. Okay, so that's a good sign. Our database instance is ready and available and ready to use. And we have few CloudWatch metrics over here: CPU utilization, DB connections, free storage space, freeable memory, write IOPS, read IOPS. And now if you notice, there's a little bit of difference what you had seen earlier and what you see right now. There are a few lines here and there. Okay, earlier it was completely blank. There was nothing over here. And this is the most important part of this screen: connect. Here we have this endpoint. Okay, this endpoint, you need to copy this to connect to your DB instance at port 3306, and this is publicly accessible. This is yes, because we have selected this option at the time of creation of this instance. Here are the security groups, and here you can see outbound rule is shown over here, which allows everything, but we cannot see anything of inbound rule. So we need to come back again and go to the security group, and may require to fix the inbound rule. We'll come back in a while. Let us go to details, and details has a summary of almost everything that is related with this RDS instance, divided in 4 parts: configuration, security and network, instance and IOPS, maintenance details. So configuration consists of Amazon resource name, ARN, engine, that is MySQL engine, licensing model, created time, database name, username. And security and network has VPC, the default VPC, subnet group, subnets, security group, publicly accessible, yes. And then it also has the endpoint detail as well, whatever we have seen up over there in connect section. Instance and IOPS. So storage is there, storage type SSD, instance class is T2 micro, and then multi-AZ confirm we have selected as no. I mean, we don't require multi availability zone because we this is a demo. And then automated backups enabled for 3 days. Backup window, we have not selected anything, so by default it has provided time. So every day at this time, backup for this RDS instance for this database will run automatically. And next we have in maintenance detail, auto miner version upgrade. Okay, maintenance window. So just like the way we have backup window over here, which has a time, this backup window, similarly we have one maintenance window over here, Okay, so this maintenance window we have left it as default, so it has provided its own uh, time, but you can change it, you can modify it if you want. Having said that, do remember that backup and maintenance windows should be at a time when the load at your database server is at its lowest. So in case of a production DB, you might need to study your traffic pattern for a few weeks before you go ahead and modify this. Also, don't configure the exact same time for both maintenance and backup window. Why? Because backup creation and maintenance both are resource intensive tasks. So running both simultaneously might severely impact your database performance. So remember this. Now here we have replication that's going on in John AP South 1A. That's the same where this database is created. CloudWatch alarms, you can create alarms over here. Snapshot is that it's you can say a backup of your instance which is available right now. Just after creation it creates a snapshot. And then we have this logs and recent events. Recent events means whatever is happening with your database, you can come over here and check it. See, for example, DB instance restarted, created, DB instance backing up, finished DB instance backup, and that's when it was available for our use. Okay, so as I have said a couple of minutes back that we need to come over here at the security group and fix this because we have outbound rules but we cannot see inbound rule over here. So it means that nothing is allowed inside this instance. So let us go to security group, and okay, so this is the security group which is attached to the database instance. The group name is RDS launch wizard, and I will go to inbound rule. Okay, so nothing is there over here in inbound rule. In case of outbound, it's allowing everything to come out, but we need this inbound rule so that traffic from our laptop or desktop or our network can go inside and connect to the DB instance. So we'll just edit, go for edit, and MySQL search for, okay, MySQL is here. If it's a SQL server, MS SQL is also there. But right now, as this is a MySQL database, we'll go ahead with MySQL. Okay, MySQL, and then this is custom. I can go for anywhere or I can go for my IP. If I go for my IP, okay, so this has detected my IP right now. But to make this simple, let us go with anywhere. Okay, anywhere means it will go ahead with that zero configuration which I have already explained in save. Okay, so this inbound rule appears over here. Here's custom TCP rule port range 3306, and this is for IPv4 and this is for IPv6. So for the timing we will require IPv6. We can ignore this IPv6. Okay, but even if it's here, there's no problem at all. Now we'll go back again to our services and let us check RDS pane and let us see if there's any change over there. Okay, so now you can see DB instance, the number is shown over here as 1, and this /20, it means 20 DB instances are allowed in this region, and we have already created 1. You can see allocated storage as well, 20 GB out of 100 TB. Okay, so and here one automated snapshot is there. We have seen it. It's shown over here. Now let us go to instance here. Now this was the dashboard. We'll go to instance because we want to check our instance. Okay, click this DB instance and we will go straight to the connect section, and this is the endpoint. And see this security group. Can you see the difference? Earlier it was only outbound, now we have inbound as well after the last change, and it's allowing everything from anywhere. Okay, so this should work now. I mean, if we are trying to connect to the database, it should work perfectly fine. The connection at port 83306. We will grab this endpoint and I'll go back to MySQL Workbench. Okay, this is the screen of MySQL Workbench, and we will go to database, connect to database, and in place of host name I will just paste whatever I have copied from the endpoint. Okay, dbinstance.cv whatever, port 3306, this is the default port, that's well and good. And then username for this instance is user, that is master user. Okay, password, I will use the password whatever I had provided while configuring. Okay, and now I'm clicking the OK button, fingers crossed. Let us see what happens. And yes, we have been able to connect. Let us check MySQL RDS. So if you remember, this was the database that we created, MySQL RDS, tables, views, stored procs. So here we have seen we have been successfully connected to our RDS instance. It was a MySQL instance that we had created, and the name of the instance was DB instance. Okay, so DB instance is the name of the MySQL instance, and inside that instance we had a database named MySQL RDS, and we have successfully connected to the MySQL RDS database. Now, if you are in any confusion about the name of this database or name of this instance, we can revisit our RDS dashboard. Let us see. We are inside Amazon RDS and instance. Okay, I'm clicking this DB instance. So here is the RDS MySQL instance that we had named it as DB instance. Okay, and then inside this we had created a database. The name of the database was MySQL RDS. Okay, DB name is MySQL RDS, and this is the same as what we have seen over here, MySQL RDS. So now I think you have been convinced. Okay, so this was all about creating or launching an RDS instance with MySQL database engine, and then again connecting to the database that we had created. So see you in the next lecture. Thank you.